Okay, so ready to talk makeup,
Always.
but not just like applying it, though we love a good smoky eye, right?
Of course.
Today's deep dive, the business of beauty, specifically China.
A market that's completely exploding. We're talking serious growth, serious innovation.
It's wild. This article we've got 20 most popular makeup brands in China. It's not even just about who's big, but why.
Exactly. It's like a playbook for understanding what Chinese consumers actually want.
Which, let's be real, is how you win in any market, but especially one as massive and dynamic as China.
Absolutely. Take that projected market size, right? $70 billion by 2025.
70 billion. I don't even have words.
It's massive.
But here's the thing. It's not just about throwing money at the problem. It's about understanding what resonates with Chinese consumers. And this article breaks it down so well. Like, we see the expected players, right? L'Oreal, Estee Lauder, Chanel.
Big names, globally recognized. But even they've had to adapt.
Oh, totally. Like L'Oreal, they're not just slapping a Chinese label on existing products. This article talks about how they've developed entire lines specifically for Asian skin.
The Revitalift line, for instance.
Hmm.
They really did their research, looking at the specific skin concerns of Chinese women, the climate, everything.
It's that level of detail that makes a difference.
Absolutely. And it's not just the global giants either. Local brands like Perfect Diary are absolutely killing it.
Oh, yeah, Perfect Diary. I was blown away by their Singles Day sales figures. Over $140 million in one day.
It's remarkable. And it speaks to the power of their strategy, particularly their use of KOLs.
KOLs being, remind me.
Key opinion leaders. Think influencers, but with a deeper level of trust and engagement within their communities.
So not just someone with a pretty face and a million followers.
Not at all. These are people who've built genuine influence within specific niches, and Perfect Diary has partnered with thousands of them.
Smart. Instead of putting all their eggs in one celebrity basket.
Exactly. They've cultivated this network of hyper-targeted micro-influencers, which allows them to reach a wider and more engaged audience.
Makes sense. Speaking of engagement, this whole clean beauty trend, it's huge in China right now, yeah.
Massive. Consumers, particularly younger generations, are incredibly conscious of ingredients, sustainability, ethical sourcing.
And both local and international brands are tapping into that.
Absolutely. But it's not just about slapping an organic label on something. It's about transparency.
Oh, for sure. Consumers can smell BS a mile away.
Exactly. So you see brands listing ingredients in both English and Chinese, often with explanations of their origins, their benefits.
So it's about education as much as anything else.
Right. Consumers want to understand what they're putting on their skin, where it's coming from. It builds trust.
And it's not just about the products themselves, right? This article talks a lot about how brands are using digital platforms in China.
Oh, absolutely. Digital isn't just a part of the strategy in China. It's like the whole foundation,
Totally. It's way beyond just like posting a pretty picture on Instagram.
way beyond. Think about WeChat, for instance. It's so much more than just a messaging app over there.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's like everything, isn't it?
Brands are using it to create these completely immersive brand experiences. Like you can have a virtual consultation with a beauty advisor right there in the app.
Wow, that's cool. So you could be like, hey, what shade of lipstick works with my skin tone? And someone pops up and is like, I gotcha.
Exactly. Or you get personalized product recommendations based on like your past purchases, what you've liked before. They even have those live stream shopping events within WeChat now.
Those are huge, right? I've heard about those.
Huge is an understatement. Live stream commerce on WeChat this year. Expected to be a multi-billion-dollar industry. Multi-billion. Because it works. People
Yeah.
buy, they trust the recommendation,
It's like QVC, but on your phone.
and on steroids, basically.
Yeah.
But this whole idea of trust, it goes even deeper. This article talked about how brands, even international ones, are incorporating traditional Chinese elements.
Right. It's not just about selling a product, it's about connecting with the culture.
Exactly. Like, take a brand like Herborist, for example. Their entire thing is based on traditional Chinese medicine. They use ingredients like ginseng, licorice, all those kinds of things.
I've seen their ads. Really beautiful. They often have that traditional art style.
Exactly. They've figured out how to be modern and rooted in tradition at the same time. And it's not just the local brands either.
Right. Estee Lauder was mentioned in this article too.
Yep, even they're getting in on it. I think they had that limited edition collection for Chinese New Year a while back.
Yeah. With the packaging inspired by that traditional paper cutting technique.
Exactly. It's smart because Chinese consumers, they know when you're faking it, you know.
Oh, totally. Authenticity is key.
100%. But it made me think, with all these big players, how do newer brands even compete?
That's a good question. This article did highlight a couple, though. Perfect Diary and Color Key, I think.
Those are the ones. They're interesting, very digitally focused, like they built their entire brands online.
And they move fast. I read somewhere that Perfect Diary, they release new products every 3 weeks. Crazy.
It's wild. And it works for them because they're constantly iterating, they're responding to trends, always keeping things fresh.
It's like fast fashion, but for makeup.
Totally. But it's more than just speed. They're also incredibly good at personalization. Perfect Diary, for example, they use all that data they get from their online platforms, and they can actually tailor product recommendations to what they think you'll like.
That's kind of creepy, but also kind of cool. Like they know you better than you know yourself.
Right. It's definitely next level.
It is kind of wild. Like having your own personal beauty concierge, but powered by algorithms.
Exactly. But it speaks to this larger trend of personalization.
Hmm.
It's not just about selling a product. It's about building that relationship.
For sure. And this article, it mentioned how brands are using social media to do that too, like all those interactive campaigns they're doing.
Oh, yeah, it's not just about putting an ad in your face. It's about creating a whole experience.
Totally. Like I've seen brands do those contests or host live events all on social media.
It's smart. They're telling stories. They're building communities all around their products.
And they're paying attention to what people are saying online too.
Oh, absolutely. The article talked about social listening, remember?
Right, right.
Brands are constantly monitoring what's being said about them, about their competitors, about trends in general.
So it's like they're always listening, always learning.
Always. And then they use that information to shape their products, their marketing, everything.
It's like they have their finger on the pulse all the time.
Exactly. It's impressive, honestly. And it's something that brands in other markets, they could learn a lot from.
Totally. I feel like we've just scratched the surface here, though. This whole deep dive into the Chinese makeup market, it's been eye-opening.
Yeah, it really has. It shows how much the industry is changing and how important it is for brands to adapt, not just to the latest trends in makeup, but to the way consumers shop, the way they interact with brands.
100%. And the thing is, this isn't just about makeup, right? This is bigger than that. Oh, definitely. The stuff we've talked about today, the importance of personalization, of digital engagement, of understanding cultural nuances, that applies to so many industries.
Totally. Food, fashion, tech.
Everything.
It's like China's kind of leading the way, you know?
Yeah.
They're experimenting, they're innovating, and the rest of the world, we better be paying attention.
Couldn't agree more.
Well, on that note, we'll leave our listeners with this thought. If makeup is already this dynamic and innovative in China, what's next? And what does that mean for other industries that are following a similar path? Something to think about.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. This has been fascinating. And to our listeners, until next time, stay curious.